legs.
Filmar du det här?
Och sound recording.
I'm feeling very lazy on this comfy bed of mine, but I think the sun's going down. I think maybe we should think about getting something to eat.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Are you the chef tonight?
Yeah, I think so.
Hi and welcome back to Wildlife Photographer in Lockdown, South Africa. Episode number 2. I'm really glad you made it back. So I've been thinking a bit today about what I'm going to talk to you about, and I thought that perhaps it would be a good idea to talk about my last trip that I made overseas to Nepal. I went there in November, and the reason for my visit there was mainly to participate in the International Ranger Federation Congress, which takes place every 5 years. It's an amazing opportunity to meet up with hundreds of rangers from across the world and discuss different issues surrounding poaching, anti-poaching, the support that we can give to different rangers. We can learn from each other, we get inspired, and we have a lot of fun. It was a truly humbling experience to be able to spend a whole week with more than 550 amazing rangers from across the planet. On my arrival to Kathmandu, I had no idea what to expect, and I was picked up, taken to my hotel, and it was a fascinating journey through a very, very busy Kathmandu with colors and lights and sounds, and it seemed like a city that never sleeps. The Ranger Congress was placed in a small town called Sauraha, which is in the southern part of Nepal, bordering the northern part of India, and there is just right outside Sauraha is Chitwan National Park, which is a big jungle, absolutely amazing, filled with, there were tigers, there were leopards, there were one-horned rhinoceros, there were Asian elephants, and we had the opportunity as rangers to go into the jungle on several safaris, both on the rivers and in safari vehicles, etc. It was absolutely fantastic, and some really, really great photographic opportunities as well, which I obviously enjoyed very much. But good morning. We are currently floating down Dunge River in the Chitwan National Park on an early morning boat ride. What was really fascinating with Nepal, and that we learned once we got there, which I did not know about before, is that they have one of the most successful conservation stories on the planet today. And we were naturally fascinated and wanted to know more. How did they do it? Well, what the Nepalese government has done is that they have a professional army in Nepal, and when you join the army, you spend your first 3 years deployed in the jungle. And every jungle that has, or every national park should I say, that has any kind of endangered animals will have the protection of the army. And it's not just a few. In Chitwan National Park alone, there were over 800 soldiers deployed, and they were then separated up in small groups, and they work according to a grid line in the jungle, and every small group had a ranger with them, and then they patrol this particular area that they've been allocated 24/7, which means that they've managed to cut out all poaching of endangered species. So they've had zero poaching of tigers, rhinos, elephants, which are the three most endangered species in Nepal, and they have a growing number of these animals as well, which is absolutely incredible for being one of the smallest countries and one of the poorest countries in Asia. They have really got an incredible success story that I would like to take with me and spread around the world, and hopefully encourage other countries to try this method that they've been using over there very successfully. After the Congress in Chitwan, I joined up with a couple of my ranger colleagues from Sweden, and we traveled to another more remote part of Nepal, to a place called Bardia, which has got a beautiful national park as well. And while we were there, we were able to join with the army as well as the rangers to do some patrolling in that jungle and really see how they were implementing these methods, which was really great. I think we were in fact the first rangers ever from another country to participate in any local patrolling together with the army, because that's like a little bit of a thing. So we were really happy about that. And over and above patrolling with the army and the rangers, we also spent about 7 days trekking through this jungle with a crazy guide that was determined to show us tigers. And we were trekking between 7 and 9 hours a day, taking small breaks here and there, sitting down, and we found loads of spoor everywhere, fresh ones from the morning. I've just arrived to our campsite in Bardia National Park, where I'm going to be camping for 2 nights in the hope of seeing some tigers roaming in the evening. We are right by a big river here. I'm going to show you in the background here. See like that. It's a big river, and on the other side of the grassland there is more water. So far we haven't actually seen anything. No, I shouldn't say that. We haven't seen any tigers. We've seen a lot of tiger tracks, a lot of tiger scat, which is very cool because a lot of the tracks are fresh. Some of the tracks that we've seen have actually been from the same morning, so we do know that they are around. And I think, no, that's a stork over there. That wasn't, you know, I start to see skew now. I think everything is a moving tiger, but it's not. That was a stork. There are my colleagues in the background. They are also anti-poaching rangers on holiday.
I'm sitting here by the river in Bardia's jungle, waiting for tigers. But I remain hopeful. It's beautiful here anyway. I'm going to stay here a bit longer.
One more thing that I really wanted to tell you about, that was a very special occasion actually. After my Bardia week, I returned to Chitwan, and one afternoon I was sitting outside in a little small street cafe, and the waiter comes up to me and says, "Would you like to see a rhino?" So we're like, yes. So he says, come, follow me. So we just run after this guy out into the street, and believe it or not, we could not believe our eyes. There is a big rhino, a big one-horned rhino walking down the main street in Sauraha. And we were like, oh my God. And around all over the place were people and cars and motorbikes back and forth like this. And the rhino just leisurely took a stroll straight through the whole town, stopping to eat a little bit here and eat a little bit there. We thought like, wow. Then we found out that this particular rhino had been rescued by the military a few years earlier as a little rhino. And they brought it up, and then they reintroduced the rhino to the jungle. But now the jungle is very close to the town, so all the rhino has to do is cross the little river, and then it's up in town. So because it's got no fear for people, it keeps on coming back and walking down the road, and people are so used to this rhino now, because this rhino is now 4 years old, and it's been doing this for the past 3 years. If there was a rhino walking down the street in Africa, people would go nuts. But yeah, I believe it's quite an interesting scenario living that close to the jungle. Well, we've come to the end of this episode 2 of Wildlife Photography in Lockdown. I hope you enjoyed my stories from Nepal, and I hope that you learned something really interesting about the conservation in Nepal. And I'll see you. Stay tuned for episode 3. Good night.